This is a weird video to make, because recently, these existential type video topics where we analyze a player deeply without any rumors or movement or trade implications or whatever attached to his name, these types of topics have not been a main staple on the channel for years. We used to make videos talking about the future of X, or the potential of Y, or where does this player go next. It was a thing like in 2019-ish. That was mostly when I divulged into more deeper topics regarding players and their futures. But as the years have gone on, we had sort of been opening the door to more videos just about regular updates, news, rumors. There are more rumors than ever before with all the insiders coming out here and using Twitter, so it makes my job a lot easier when thinking about things to talk about. But when it comes to this player specifically, you already know who it is from the title, from the thumbnail, from the news. In the past few days, this guy got sent down on waivers. He cleared waivers. He'll be assigned to the AHL most likely, and today, I wanted to talk about his future. Let's head over to Detroit and talk about one of the top Red Wings of the future. At least, that's what he was supposed to be back when he was drafted 5 years ago. Let's talk today about Filip Zadina. Because when it comes to the future of Filip Zadina, I always like to be a bit more positive and optimistic about guys, especially guys whom I had formed really good attachment to when watching them when they were younger, watching their tape, watching their production and their good habits, and saying, all right, these guys have good potential. We know that there is talent there. We just gotta will it out of them as they get older and eventually make their way into higher levels of play. I always like to stray on the more optimistic side, and even in the past few years, it's been very evident that I've been very positive regarding this player and what I think he's able to become. But long story short, it's been 5 years, which is quite literally half a decade. It's kind of nuts to think about that, since the guy was drafted 6th overall by Detroit in 2018, and the potential has nowhere near been fulfilled. Now, I know we repeat the same song and dance every time we talk about this guy, but over the years, I've started to see more comments just kind of leaning the other way. Because I know a lot of y'all Red Wings fans, y'all feel the same way that I do. You never like to dunk on guys that are in the system, guys that Stevie Y has drafted, guys that even Ken Holland drafted towards the end of his tenure. You like to see Michael Rasmussen doing his thing. You like to see some of the other Red Wings top players doing their thing. Moritz Seider was drafted in 2019. He was taken the year after Zadina. So, there's a lot of optimism that goes around with the Wings fanbase and its prospects. But, over the past few years, I've slowly observed that shift in attitude towards this player in Filip Zadina. And maybe that entire shift is not just indicative of what the Wings fanbase is feeling, but maybe it's also what other NHL GMs are feeling too. The reason I say that is because Filip Zadina got waived the other day, he cleared, and now he's wherever he's gonna be, and we had ourselves some updates from Steve Yzerman himself going out there and discussing what the situation had been for Zadina. There's an entire video interview that's available on, it's on Twitter, posted by Peter Andrianopoulos, but this is not the full transcript. It's just kind of clipped up. It's some specific quotes where Yzerman says that he feels like Zadina is part of the team's future, or he felt at the time that he was a part of the team's future. Yzerman said that he didn't want to waive Zadina, but here's another update from Ansar Khan that kind of goes over that. He said Zadina and Zadina's agent asked for a trade a few weeks ago, and Yzerman tried to accommodate that request. He wasn't able to find a team that was interested in Zadina, so he waived him. But he's not writing off his career, and he believes he can still be an NHL player. And Yzerman was very clear in the press conference there, just saying, yeah, it's up to fate. Like, if he gets claimed, okay, he's not with us anymore. But if he doesn't get claimed, then there's nothing really that the Wings could do. They tried to find a trade partner to get Zadina. Nobody was interested. If he gets waived and he clears, which he did, nobody's interested in even getting him for free. And so, what now? This is where we get into more of the discourse from Red Wings fans specifically. I saw this tweet pop up on my timeline posted by Red Wing diehards, and it got a bunch of likes, a bunch of retweets. This thing has 150,000 views. let's read this together, because Red Wing Diehard has a Twitter verification or a Twitter blue icon on it, so they are allowed to make tweets longer than 240 characters. Filip Zadina has a lot of gonads getting a 3-year deal out of Yzerman only to ask out of the organization 10 months later. Red Wings Diehard says, I'm so done with this kid. He fell in the draft because he was overrated, he runs his mouth saying he's going to fill nets with pucks, which he didn't, and if we would have had a competent GM at the time, we would have had Bouchard or Hughes in the organization over this guy. Then, it was Jeff Blashill's fault that he didn't like him or whatever. Sure, whatever, he needed to go, but it's just been all excuses to this kid since draft night over 5 years ago now. This guy needs to shut up and go to work. He hasn't even close to given Detroit his very best or a fair shot, and that reputation coupled with him never showing up on the ice is why nobody wanted to trade for him, and likely why nobody wants him for free. The tragedy of Filip Zadina and, of course, Ken Holland fell for it all. And then you have some other Red Wings fans like Emmanuel going out there and saying this. Fans on here overrated the hell out of him. One of the worst Red Wings players I've seen in a while. I was hoping he'd be a throw-in for DeBrincat instead of just waving him, but... And then Kyle goes out there and replies saying, yeah, Ottawa wasn't going to take our trash. And this is interesting. Like, I've always been more on the optimistic side, right? As I said, but... You know, seeing more perspective like this, seeing more Red Wings fans openly start to admit that they don't feel as positively about Zadina as they did maybe like a year or two ago, it's very interesting to see that shift, especially since last year when Zadina signed the contract extension. I mean, we were all kind of over the moon, right? I remember the comment section in the video, hey, Steve Yzerman signed Zadina to a 3-year... $1 million something contract, and that's really good. 1.8 million per season. That's good for what Zadina is and what he could be as he grows and gets better because he's only 23 years old. But now the guy wanted out after a year's worth of time on that contract. Nobody wanted him, and nobody wanted him for free either. He had 7 points in 30 games. Like, Filip Zadina may just indeed need that change of scenery. And I definitely don't want to say that he is doomed to being mid for the rest of his career. But as Steve Yzerman went out there and said, there are a few other players that have had similar trajectories, similar stories, where they're pretty good when they're younger, but then they're not great in the NHL, and eventually a change in scenery is what they need. Steve Yzerman said this, that he still believes Zadina can become a valuable NHL player. And he even referenced Eli Tolvanen for the Seattle Kraken, formerly of the Predators, as an example of a player who found it later. He would still like for that growth to happen in Detroit for Zadina, and if he clears, which he did, Yzerman still sees him as part of the future, even though he has to earn that spot. And so, my question to you here is this. I have a little matrix, 2 questions that I want to ask you for Zadina. His future, yay or nay? Does he eventually figure it out, or does he not figure it out? Does he stay mid for the rest of his career? He's doomed to getting only 20 points per season, and he's never really able to break beyond that. Does he become the star, or does he stay down in the dumps? That's question 1. And question 2, does he do that with the Wings? There are 4 possible answers here, and I'm just interested in seeing which one you feel is the most likely to occur. Zadina panning out with the Wings, panning out not on the Wings, or staying mid on the Wings, or going to some other organization and being garbage over there. Maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh with my wording here, but I've said it, man. The entire past few years, I've been very positive about the way Zadina has grown and noted that he has gotten better defensively, how he has adjusted more so to the NHL game, how the goal scoring was always there when he was younger, but he just needs to find that gear to execute in the NHL. I was positive about this in the last video. But seeing more and more Wings fans openly admit their disgruntled feelings towards this has really gotten me thinking where the fan base is, whether or not the rest of y'all are on the same page as I am still, where we feel that there's a future here for Zadina. Steve Yzerman believes that there's a future for Zadina, and hopefully that happens with Detroit, but if you disagree, then hey, the comment section is your floor. Let me know in the comments what your opinions are on this entire situation and why that is. Filip Zadina, yay or nay? Detroit or not Detroit? Yay or nay? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.